coffee cup before the day begins. Don't go, stay a while, we'll slow it all the way back down. Time is still and there's nowhere to be. Birds are talking outside, getting space for the words we hold inside to come out. So stay a while, we'll slow it all the way.
So as you can see, today I thought that we could begin by starting to decorate the dining room for autumn. And I was kind of trying to consider what the aesthetic would be. Anytime I'm trying to kind of figure out the dining room situation, I always address which metal I'm going to be using first. I usually go for either a vintage copper or iron, and as you can see here, any types of silver or, what's that called? No. Anyway, I love using vintage pieces because as you can see, they don't have to match. In fact, I think they actually look a lot better and more collected when they don't. You actually can save a lot of money. If you give yourself time, you can collect them throughout the year or years. I rarely go into an antique shop, if silver is your thing, without seeing some type of silver candle holder. So that's the foundation of where we are starting off today. I also really love using candlesticks because they are extremely versatile. I mention this every single season, but it simply takes switching out the candle to make it look completely different. For instance, if I popped some cream colored candles or even burgundy, then it looks like it could fall into the Christmas category. And as you can see here, I'm kind of going for a spookier setting. I will mention that the dining room usually goes through about 5 different iterations throughout the season. I really like to put a lot of attention into the dining room because, like the foyer, this is where a lot of our guests, when we host them, spend most of their time. You always want to make sure you cut the wicks of your candles. This will save the life of them. Otherwise, the flame is going to be a lot larger than it needs to be and burn the candle much faster. So I did wedding decor and design for over 10 years, so I am no stranger to tablescapes. I always like to start with the largest piece first and then work my way kind of down from there. And visually, I liked the larger or tallest piece towards the middle and then kind of taper my way down from there. So I'm gonna take my 2 largest pieces. Where is my, did that fall? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh no, we're one short. Hang on. I'll just borrow from this one and have to get another one for that one later. But anyway, as I was saying, I start with my largest pieces first and then kind of work my way down from there. So for me, the goal was never symmetry, but rather balance. I always feel like it's a lot more interesting to not have everything be perfectly symmetrical. You still want your eye to feel secure, but it's just a little bit more playful, looks a little bit more thoughtfully curated when it isn't exactly the same on both sides. if I was being completely honest. I'd probably prefer it to be monochromatic, but I couldn't find enough. I will say it's always a little bit of a struggle to find exactly what I'm looking for in terms of dried florals, but they're definitely getting much, much better, and they have come a long, long way. I get my florals from either Hobby Lobby, and now Target is starting to carry some as well. I think they started either a year or two ago, but their selection is small, but what they do have is not bad at all. I like to start by making sure that I have my vase, because it's really hard to tell the height that you're going to want your pieces without knowing the exact height of your vessel that you'll be using.
Oh, just when I quit being lonely, just when I found something special, I threw it all away. I'm home, the clock is ticking at midnight. I keep on watching the time pass by, but I just can't walk away, just can't walk away. Oh, 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 it's dark, I'm seeing lights out the window. It's nothing more than a dream, I know, but I just can't walk away. Oh, oh, oh,
I tend to consider myself as being pretty sure-footed when it comes to making my design decisions concerning seasonal changes within the home, but one thing I tend to waffle pretty heavily over is deciding which artwork to incorporate. But one of the things that really helps me make that decision is by comparing it to any pieces that I am considering. For instance, I know I am absolutely going to be using this antique painting that I found. It very much reminds me of Practical Magic, the scene in their entryway, the kind of dark portion of their house. And like I said, I'm just going to take over any pieces that I'm considering and compare it with the one that I absolutely am sure about. One way I do love to save money, I have several frames that I switch out from season to season, and I will interchange the frames with the different art pieces. This way, I'm not really purchasing a lot of different things, but it feels like I am continually changing it without actually bringing in something new. Going back to this painting, this is really my statement piece when it comes to this bookshelf unit. I always want to have one kind of statement piece. If you think of it in terms of acting, this is kind of the main star, and the rest of the other pieces are just simply playing the supportive role. You want to make sure that they complement, don't clash with, don't take too much attention away from, but just settle in beside and amongst the star of the show. So now that I've taken out the pieces that I feel like are going to kind of clash with the vision that I am going for, I'm gonna slowly incorporate the new additions.
We'll go to the park, laugh away the blues. People will stare, asking have they lost their minds. And when it gets dark, we'll play our favorite tune, heart and soul. Dance under the moon. When my dreams get so hazy and skies become gray, you'll be the one to guide me home. For miles and miles, been sailing through the sea to find you here, standing next to me. So, my love,
this autumn season has been approaching, I am forever perusing the new Halloween collections amongst all the stores, Anthropologie being one of them, when I stumbled upon these Japanese lantern pod string lights. One of my favorite things to do is to dupe higher end pieces and make it for much cheaper. And looking at these, I thought I could probably come pretty stinking close to making the exact same item for a lot less money. So I started scouring the internet to see if I could find any seeds, and I did happen to stumble upon the seeds themselves as well as the actual dried out pods. Now, if they're still available, I will provide the link in the description box, but if not, the seeds are definitely there for the picking. So here's what materials you're going to need. If you already have a drill, you're just going to need a pretty small drill bit. Mine is probably a quarter of the size of the light bulb string light. You just need something to make a really tiny hole. You will need the pods themselves and a string of lights. I prefer battery operated lights because I can put them anywhere I want, and you don't have to worry about that annoying place where they have to be plugged in. You can hide the battery pack pretty much anywhere in your decor. Now, if you are choosing to grow your own, you just want to make sure that they are completely dried out before beginning the process. The first place you're going to want to start is just by very gently, and I will stress the word gently as these are quite delicate, but you are just going to want to twist off the stem of your pod. And you're just going to take your Dremel. It is kind of a practice in patience, as it takes several holes before you're actually ready to poke in your light, but it will eventually happen. Now, I tried a larger bit, but it really didn't work in my favor, and so I kind of, after trying a few of them, I decided I preferred the smaller version of it. And so you just go around where the stem was and very carefully drill out holes all around that portion. Japanese, and you can, ouch, ow. There are also really tiny Dremel, and you can,
What'd you do? What do you do? You don't know?
oh man, ouch. Ow! I know. No. Like there's a type of silver, I'm having a brain fart. Oh well. That's one of the things that's really helping me as I go along and try to figure out what I want the units to look like. I know that anything that I'm going to add in, I want to make sure that it really possesses those elements. I decided to either leave those in my storage box or donate the ones that I know I probably won't incorporate in the future. This season, I have really been going for a more muted and grounded feel. I want to stay towards more earthy, natural colors.